Have you ever wondered how to add awesome looking animations to your PowerPoint presentation? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to use everything in the animations tab in PowerPoint. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so as you can see on my screen, to get to the actual animations section, if you're starting off from home, you just go all the way over here to animations, and then it will open up the animations tab for you in PowerPoint. So next, what we have to do is we have to have something to actually animate, because this is all going to be grayed out until we have something selected like this. So what I did is I just went here to insert and went to shapes, and then I inserted a circle, and then I also inserted these shapes right here. So I'm going to show you two different types of animations, and then also exactly what the animation tab is all about. So if we go back here to animations, you're going to see all these animations grayed out. So I'm going to select this circle right here, go to animations, and then you have a bunch of different entrance animations right here that are in the color green. Then what you have is a bunch of emphasis animations right here in the color yellow. And some of these are going to be mixed colors. And then you have exit animations in red. And lastly, you have motion path animations. So how I got to open up all these different animations was I just went here to this drop down arrow right here, clicked on it, and now I'll open up all the different animations available to you for you to select. Now keep in mind that these are actually not all the animations that are available to you to select. You can actually see more animation effects available if you click here for entrance, emphasis, exit, and motion path. So just keep that in mind when you are trying to animate your slides. There are more animations available other than the ones listed here. These are just kind of the more popular ones that people most likely are going to use, so that's why they're showing up right here. Alright, so let's add in our first animation. So let's say I have this circle here, and I just wanted to go back and forth on the screen. Why I would want to do that? I'm not really sure, but we're going to make this happen. So basically what you can do is you can select this circle right here, and if for some reason it ever goes to this format section right here, all you have to do is go back to animations, and then you could click on animation pane. And what this is going to do is it's going to show you all your animations that you're adding to the circle right here, and also the timing of how this animation is going to play out. So this is a very important part, and we'll get more into this animation pane a little bit later. So let's say I want to add in something where I'll go back and forth. Well, for that, that's going to include a motion path, and specifically a line. Now you can do a custom path, and if I do this, and then I click, and then just start drawing, it'll make a custom path for me, and then if I hit escape, it's going to draw out that custom animation. And then if I click on the shape again, you're going to see the path that I drew for this animation. So custom paths are really great if you are a pro in creating animations, but just to start out, I would probably stay away from them. So in this case, we're just going to go with a line. So I'm going to click on line. As you can see here, it now created a line going from top to bottom. Now, if I want to change the direction of where that ball is going to go, maybe from left to right, or from right to left, or from bottom to top, I can change all that if I go here to effect options. Now you're going to have these effect options available to you with any type of animation that you are selecting. So in this case, I want to go from left to right. So green means where it's going to start, and red means where the animation is going to end. So I'm going to click right here. And that way it's going from left to right. So now if I click on this shape again, zoom in, you're going to see this green triangle. There's also, if you see right here, there's this red triangle as well. This is basically where your start and stop locations are located on the screen for this animation. So if you want to change where those are going to start, you can click on this again, and then it's going to change those triangles into a circle. This means it's going to allow you to edit the animation to let you move it to wherever you would like it to be. So once you are hovered over it, it's then going to make this symbol right here, and that means you're able to now click it, drag it, and move it to wherever you'd want it to be. So if you want to come in at an angle, you can do that like so, let go of the click, and then what it's going to do is it's going to start right here and then end right here. Now you'll notice that the circle is still located right here, but for this animation, what's going to happen is it's going to start here and end here. So I'm going to show you guys what exactly happens if you don't have it lined up from where the original position of the shape is. So if you go into preview, you're going to see that there's a little bit of a glitch where it appeared right here super quickly, but then it jumped to this position right here and then moved from left to right. So I wouldn't recommend having your shape not start where the original object's located unless you know what you're kind of doing with animations. So in a certain use case, I could see, like, let's say you want to start right here and then have it end where it's located. You could do that, and that's actually going to work really nicely because then it'll just start from the top to the bottom. So if I go into presentation mode, you can see there, that's how it works. So another thing to note when you're doing line animations, so you'll still notice that there's a glitch where it's showing right here and then it'll shift to this top location and then to the bottom. So what you want to do is you actually want to add in a fade animation so that it slowly fades in from the top to the bottom and it enters your presentation without already being on the screen and then moving. So in order to add an animation, a lot of people might make the mistake of going here to add your second animation to an object. But what you actually want to do is you want to click on this drop down arrow right here, which is identical to this one right here. The only difference is that when you click on an animation right here, it allows you to add more than one animation to an object. So I'm going to click this fade animation right here for my circle. And now what it does is it's going to add in a fade animation in addition to that line animation. So let's say I want to add a third animation to this object, but I accidentally went here instead of clicking on these animations right here. If I click this drop down arrow and then I added in the shape animation, it's going to add in that shape animation, but the only problem is it now deleted those previous two animations to the shape. So that is exactly why if you are adding more than one animation to an object or a picture, whatever it may be, even text, you need to hit this drop down arrow and then select your animation here. And again, this is the same exact window as this one. They just have a very unique rule in PowerPoint where you only can add one animation here, but you can add as many as you want as long as you keep selecting them from here to the same object. So another thing is when you do add an animation to an object, you're going to have a thing called effect options. So you can click on this and it's going to give you different options that you can select for that specific animation. So if you noticed before, when we clicked on lines, it had effect options as well and allows you to pick what direction your line is going to be. But in this case, when we picked on shape, it had the effect options and now it chooses whether or not you want your direction of your animation to go outward or inward. They also have additional shapes right here for how you want your object to come in. So let's say you pick on diamond, and then it's going to come in as a diamond animation. So those are just a couple things to notice. You can easily play around with all these different animations. So if you want to click on bounce, you can see what it's going to look like and then play around with it. Another thing I really like to do is, let's say you're not sure what animation you want to choose, but you just want to have a quick preview on what they all look like before selecting it. Click this drop down, go to more entrance effects, and then you can click here and click on each one, and then it's going to show you what all these different animations do before actually selecting it. Once you're happy with what that animation is, you then can hit OK and allow you to apply that animation to that object. The same goes for over here. So if I hit more entrance right here and do a fly in, hit OK, it will now add in a second animation. So this again all depends on whether or not you're only having one animation for your object or if you're wanting multiple animations added to the same object. All right, so another cool thing about animations is that you can use this for almost any type of scenario that you could possibly think of, as long as you have some type of creativity when it comes to animations. So let's say you have a bar chart and you want the bar chart to grow from the left to the right to show how much it grew in that bar. Well, right here, I basically just have a transparent rectangle and then a more solid rectangle with the same color on top of it, and the same thing for this blue rectangle right here. Next, what I have is this hidden white object right here. So you actually can't see this shape because it's the color white and my background's white. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to have this object come from the left to right so that it's filling up like so, as if it's filling up that bar chart. And people are going to think it's coming from this point right here, but really it's just hidden behind this white rectangle. So what we can do in order to make this animation is basically you can select this orange one and this blue object, then go up here and click on, let's click on fly in, and then we're going to do effect options, and we're going to do from left, and there we go. And so another thing is, if you see here, I'm going to get rid of these two right here. You see here that we have this mouse icon. So in order to get rid of that, all we have to do is go up here to start and say with previous. So if you want to control how your animations are played on your slide, you can either choose on click, so that someone has to physically click their mouse in order for that animation to be triggered, or if you say with previous, then it all depends on the timing of it. So right now there's a delay of 0 seconds, so that means when I'm in presentation mode, this animation is going to play automatically, and it's only going to last for 0.5 seconds. So another thing is, you'll see right here that this says 0 and this also says 0. So this basically is just showing you the order of how your animations are going to come in on your screen. So let's say you want this animation to not happen until this animation is finished. Well, you can click on this one, say start on click, and now that's going to change to a 1. So now everything's going to happen for all the 0 animations, and then when you click, all the 1 animations are going to begin, and so on. So that is just a quick way to see kind of the timing of what the sequence is for when your animations are going to come in on your screen. So another thing that I want to show you guys is, if you select both of these shapes, you can select both of them here, and it's going to highlight both these animations. Or what you can do is you can highlight both these animations right here. I'm going to make this with previous real quick. And then you have this drop down arrow. So you technically have this drop down arrow for both objects, but if you have both selected, it will make the same drop down arrow for both objects. Now, this only can work effectively if they're the same type of animation. If they're different animations, you're gonna have to edit these individually. But since they're the same, we can hit this one drop down arrow, go to effect options, and now whatever I choose here, it's going to affect the options for both of these animations. So in here, you can have a bunch of different effect options depending on what animation you have. In this case, we have effect, and then we have direction from left. So this is also in effect options right here from left. You can always change it right here as well. And then smooth start or smooth end or bounce end. So for smooth start and smooth end, all that means is how fast the animation is going to start up or how fast it's going to die down. So basically, I want to have these come really quickly in, but then slowly ease in to the end of the animation. So I'm going to increase the smooth end all the way to the end, and I just can click this bar right here to affect that. And then if you want it to bounce, you can, but you will notice if you move this bounce end, it's going to adjust both the smooth end and smooth start exactly to 0, because you only can have one or the other. So just keep that in mind. So I'm going to have the smooth end all the way to the right. And then I'm not going to have any sound or do anything after the animation, but you can choose options here if you would like. I don't really play around with enhancements that much, but feel free to do that if you want. Timing. This is just the same window that you see right up here. I usually will play around with the timing right up here, but you have this option here as well. The only thing different is repeat and triggers. So if you want this animation to keep repeating, you can choose here, or you can also type in the exact amount you want that animation to repeat. So I'm just going to right now say none, and we're going to hit OK. And now if I go into presentation mode, you're going to see that it's kind of going quickly because the duration is only 0.5 seconds. So let's make this 2 seconds, and then we'll do effect options, and okay, smooth ends at 2 seconds. So now let's just go into presentation mode and see how this looks. All right, so that's just a nice smooth way to grow in that bar chart to see the growth of whatever stats it may be that you have. So this is just a quick example on how you can do that. Also, let's say you have an animation here and then you say stop. So if you ever want to alter the ordering of when your animations are going to start, you can click and drag to show here. But just note that you could have a delay of 1.25 seconds, but these animations are still going to start before it, even though this one's on top. This is just kind of an ordering mechanism for yourself to have. Honestly, I would just, for a rule of thumb, try to have your first animation start at the top of your list right here, and then your later animations start towards the bottom. It's just easier for you to follow that way. Another thing is you have a timeline right here. So this is actually showing when your animations are going to happen. So if I say play from, it's going through this timeline right here. And then you can go farther down the timeline if you want to see more as to if you have a lot of animations happening, or you can hit this left arrow to go back to where it starts at 0. You could also choose seconds by zooming in or by zooming out. So depending on how many seconds you want to see on this timeline, this is an option for you. All right, so another thing is let's say you add in all your animations, you want to see all of them, you can hit play all right here, and it's going to play all your animations. You could also, if you're playing all and then you just want to stop it real quick because you need to make a change before it finishes playing, you could always hit that stop. You could also do preview right here. So right now I have auto preview selected, but let's say I had this selected and I want to get rid of auto preview. I can uncheck mark that, and now when I hit anything for this animation, it's not going to show a preview until I play it or I put in presentation mode. If I go back here and hit auto preview and check mark that, it's now when I hit an animation, it's going to show me what the animation is going to be as I select it. So that's just all preference. The only reason why I will probably uncheck mark auto preview is if I'm trying to add in a bunch of complicated animations to something and I don't want to give myself like a seizure or something while I'm adding in all these animations, because it can get kind of annoying. So that is the only time when I would probably uncheck mark this and not see what the preview is going to look like. So that's how you can use the preview section in the animation tab. Another thing I want to show you guys, even though I did do a video on it right here and you'll see in the notification center if you want to check it out, but Animation Painter, you guys, this tool is a game changer, because if you have a bunch of animations you already really like to use and you've already created them, let's say in a previous slide or even in this slide, you no longer have to recreate that same animation, because all you have to do is use the Animation Painter. Let's say you want to add it to this object right here. As long as you have the object selected that has the original animation and it's clicked, and then you click Animation Painter, you can either click Animation Painter once, and then when you click on something, it's going to apply to one object. But if you double click it, it's then going to allow you to click on multiple objects at the same time with that same animation. So I can click on this. Now it's going to add in that animation that was applied to this object. I still have the Animation Painter tool available. As you can see, the brush icon right there. But if I'm done using the Animation Painter tool, all I have to do is hit escape, and that will get rid of the hold on the Animation Painter tool. All right, so those are kind of the main features of Animation Paint. So we did go over entrance animations, but let's say you had an animation come onto the screen and entered the screen, but let's say you wanted to exit the screen. Well, what you can do is you click on a fade, and again, let's say maybe I want these bars to go back out after they came in once I'm done showing this information. I can click on this animation drop down arrow right here, and then I could do a fly out, and then I will choose the direction of going to left. And then watch this. So I'm gonna go here, they come in like so, I'm gonna hit the mouse, and now it goes back out immediately when I click. Now you can also time this so that you don't have to click at all. You could say with previous and then have a delay. And that way, go in presentation mode, I got my hands up, it's showing, and now it went back out without me having to click anything. So just a good rule of thumb when using the animation section in PowerPoint is I would almost make all of your animations with previous right here. I would not have it ever on click unless you are fully wanting to have full control of your animations on your screen, where you're wanting to talk about something and you don't know how long it's going to take, so you want to do an on-click animation to the next part of your presentation. That's the only reason why I would use on-click. If you are trying to show a bunch of animations in the beginning, you don't have to worry about having to click anything. Do with previous, and then all you have to do is use a bunch of delays, and then that's how you can affect your animations to show up automatically. When you would use after previous is maybe, let's say you just want a quick shortcut. So right now these have a delay of 2 seconds. Well, let's say I just did with previous, delay of 0, but I just want them to be after this animation. I don't want to think about it. I can click here and then do after previous, and now it's going to automatically make the animation start after these animations, and same with this one, it's going to start after this animation as well. Now if I want these two to start together, I would just make this one with previous, and now those two are going to start together. Now here's the thing, you'll see here a delay of 0 seconds. That's because it's basically telling this animation that's starting at 0 because it's after previous. So it's really not starting at 0 on the timeline, but right here at this position, it's 0 for this animation. Now, if I ever want to go and try to make this go over here, I'm not going to be able to do that because it's after previous. The only way I can do that is doing with previous, and then I can manipulate where I want it to move. So that is why I kind of recommend using with previous more often than after previous, just because you have more full control as to the timing of when the animation is going to appear, disappear, or even be emphasized. Now another thing is that if you want a quick shortcut on dragging your animations in a certain location without having to manipulate them here, you can go here until you have this icon over your animation, and then you can just click and drag where you want it to start, and it's going to show you that time. You could also increase the sizing of it, meaning the duration of your animation, if you go to either end of your animation and then just click and drag. So those are just a couple of shortcuts on affecting the timing and duration of your animations. So the last tip I want to give you guys is how to select more than one animation at a time. So if I click on this one and then I click on this one, it's going to click off of that previous one. So the only way I can click on both is if I hold down Control and then I click on the next one, and the next one, and the next one, and then I can click on this one, and then it's going to click off of it. So as long as you hold down Control, you can select as many animations as you want. Now you can do the Shift method. So if you hold down Shift and then select here, it's going to select all 3 of those automatically, because it's going to go from the first one all the way to whatever last animation you select. The only reason why I like messing around with Control more than Shift is because if you click on Shift and let's say you only want to unselect this one right here, it's going to not do what you want. It's going to actually get rid of this one and still have this one selected. But if I hit Control and then click, it's going to allow me to select this one and this animation at the same time. And then I can affect maybe the delays of just those 2 animations. So this is a really important shortcut to know when messing around with animations. Alright, so that is a brief overview on how to use the animation section in PowerPoint. If you guys did like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and if you could subscribe, I would greatly appreciate the support. Also, if you are interested in learning all things related to PowerPoint, I do have a course available on Udemy, so I have a link to that in the description below. But without further ado, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I hope to see you guys in future videos. Thanks.